Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Brian Daniels, and we're listening to, you're watching a brand new episode. I don't know, I lost my words. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about half the time.
This is a video show.
Anyway, I wing this about 90% of the time. Okay, just that's fine. You're watching a bunch of marks. My name is Brian Daniels. I'm the host, and I've got my two other marks here. My lovely wife Raven over here, and I've got Josh Thunder Shaver. What's going on, Josh?
How's it going? How's it going?
Good. And we have a very, very special guest with us here on this episode. We got OVW's own Josh Ashcraft on the show. What's going on, Josh? How you doing, man?
How's it going, y'all? I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm real excited to be on.
Dude, I'm glad you're excited. I'm excited that you're here. We're
Yeah.
all excited to have.
We've been talking about
Yeah,
this for a
we
while.
talked about this for a
Yeah.
minute. And it first off, if you don't know at all what Ohio Valley Wrestling is,
Oh,
you are
we're missing out.
you are totally missing out. OVW
Good stuff.
has been a pro wrestling icon for over 20 years. What all do I need to say, Josh? I mean, that hasn't been said already. I mean, you had the golden age of OVW, early 2000s, maybe late 90s. You had guys like Brock Lesnar,
Yep.
Shelton Benjamin, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. You had guys like John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, CM Punk, The Miz,
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on.
I don't know a
Yeah, there
single
was
one of
a
those guys.
Man, yeah,
there
the
was a
list.
point in time where like every match on WrestleMania had at least one OVW alumni in it for like
Mhm.
7 or 8 years straight.
That's
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah, and we've had
Yeah.
CM Punk reference OVW a lot
Oh,
recently.
multiple times.
He wore
Love giving that address out.
he loves talking about Shepherdsville Road, and
Sorry, my dog's over here hitting the table. Quit, Scooby.
no, you're good. Uh,
We love dogs. It's fine.
that's okay. And even CM Punk wore some OVW colors. I think that's what he was trying to do, right?
Oh,
When he came out there at
I mean,
WrestleMania.
that's what I would say.
cannot convince me otherwise unless he straight up told it to my face, and then even then I would doubt it.
Absolutely. OVW is a staple in the world of professional wrestling, especially with its ties to WWE. And OVW had recently this big Netflix show that came out a few years ago.
Yeah.
My mug was on there for about 6 seconds, but hey, it's 6 seconds of Netflix. I will take what I can get.
Well, no wonder we didn't
Um,
get a second season.
I know
It's all your fault.
Oh,
fine. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. But Josh, man, what has OVW meant for you? Let's ask you this because
Wow.
what's it meant for you being you yourself a staple of OVW?
mhm.
Well, I went to my first OVW show. God, this is gonna make me sound old, but back around the turn of the century, at the Louisville Gardens, and I was hooked, man. I started going to the shows over in Jeffersonville, and then actually, if you go back and
Yeah.
watch um, Fall Brawl, our first debut show in the new Davis Arena, I'm actually sitting center hard cam right there through the whole thing.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's cool. I'll have to go back and
I
look at
went going from being a kid in the crowd to a guy that's literally rebuilt the interior of that building with his father multiple times over now,
that.
and
Yeah.
it's just surreal. Like
Uh,
OVW for me has it's been my longest it's been my longest love. It's been my longest relationship. Um
yeah.
it just means the world to me. It's the biggest part of me.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, Dude, no doubt. I will say that I've only lived in the southern Indiana, Louisville area for about 5 years now. We moved down here, and
Sure.
before I moved down here,
About 5.5 now.
I know it's been a while.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right. I wasn't so passionate about pro wrestling when I came down here. I was when I was younger. I mean, I grew up in the Attitude Era, early '90s character wrestling, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, stuff like that. I
Yeah.
know you're familiar with that stuff too. Um, and what really rekindled my love for pro wrestling was moving down here and just
Yeah.
going to OVW for the first time. Seeing, you were still a wrestler there at that point in the ring. So I've seen some of your in-ring work, although probably not when you were in your prime in the ring, but
Yeah.
we'll talk about that. Um, but getting to see guys like Mr. Spectacular, Luke Curtis, Cal Hero, guys like Jack Vaughn go in there. Even just recently, we had Doug Basham come back to the ring for a while, which was really cool to get to see that.
I'm actually halfway disappointed because Doug was like, "You're my last match, kid," and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
But what's did you get a chance to witness a lot of the old OVW stuff, like when they had the partnership with WWE? Were you there for a
Yeah.
lot of that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember, Cena over in the original Davis Arena in Jeffersonville.
Yep.
That's
I
crazy.
remember, Batista, Brock, all those guys being there and sitting, 15 to 20 feet away from them and heckling
That's
them.
wild.
I
That's
think I've told
awesome.
this story before,
That's
but it always
amazing.
pops Doug when I tell him that the first person, like the first grown man to actually make me fear for my own personal safety was Doug Basham. Because I was heckling him from the second row at the old Davis Arena, and he popped up on the turnbuckle, ripped off the machine mask. He'd already lost it to Dinsmore, but still had it around. And he just stared me
Yeah.
down into my seat, and I wilted. I was like, "Oh God, this grown man is going to beat the life out of me."
That's
I don't know
crazy.
Yeah.
what the rating
That's
on this is, so
funny.
I don't want to.
Oh no, you're fine. You can swear. It's
But
You're good. We swear we allow all the curse words here. Go for
like, yeah, no, I thought he was going to beat the shit out of me. And fun
it.
fact, fast forward to later on in my career, I actually stole the studded belt and the pleather pants from Doug Basham's Machine days. So
That's hilarious.
that's when I
Oh,
started rocking that shit later on in the LOB. Like it was a tribute. We even named Isaiah's leg lariat the TTD. It's the tribute to Doug. So
that's awesome.
I remember watching Basham when he had hair type shit. So yeah, I've been around, man.
Yeah.
I was there through the end of the original Davis Arena, the
Yeah.
birth of the new Davis Arena, and was there for years and years until life kind of got in the way a little bit, and I took a couple year hiatus from weekly Wednesday night tapings. And then it got rekindled, shortly before I broke in. So I was probably going strong from 2002 to 2009, like rarely missing a show.
Right on. I gotta
Yes,
ask you, let's talk about some of your history as a pro wrestler.
sure.
Why did you want to become a professional? I gotta know this. I don't care who we have on.
Mhm.
I have to know why choose, or did it choose you, pro wrestling to be an actual wrestler yourself?
I was never like I was never a huge fan of wrestling up until I was probably 10 or 11 years old.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
it was always around, it was always on, but it just really wasn't my thing. My great grandmother into her late 80s never missed an episode of Raw.
That is
Um,
fantastic.
All right.
so
That's pretty cool.
I remember sitting in like the living room of my grandparents' house in Florida one summer. I was probably 11, so it would have been like around 97, give or take,
Okay.
98.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remember I would go help my great grandmother out of her recliner at when Raw was over. So that was her bedtime. That was when she went to bed. So every Monday night I'd be doing whatever. And one Monday I just went in and sat down with her and just wanted to kind of hang out with my great grandmother and fetch her beers from the fridge because she would still in her 80s chug old Milwaukee and get pissed off and throw the can across the room. But she was feisty. Dude, she got banned from the Louisville Gardens for hitting Bill Dundee in the head with her purse that was full of books. So like my family has always been into wrestling, and
all right,
that is wonderful.
And I wound up picking it up. So I remember sitting down and watching, and like, what is this? This is not the cartoonish shit that I thought it was. Like, because the Attitude Era is kicking off.
Oh yeah.
So I was heavily invested.
For sure.
And what really got me into it was, believe it or not, watching ECW tapes.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah. Okay.
I had a buddy of mine that had a bunch of ECW on just VHS that had been recorded by a buddy of his.
Hell yeah.
So he gave it to me and I watched it. I was like, holy shit. Like they're setting stuff on fire. They're putting people through tables. Like,
dude, that would have been fun.
Only half of them look like they should be a wrestler. The rest of them look like just an average guy. And that made me feel like, I could do that. Now, It's yeah, I know. And it later on in life, you hear the whole what makes you different. Like why, if you're going to look like someone from the crowd, go sit in the crowd.
Yeah.
But I took that as I'm not going to be 6'5", jacked and tan. It's just not in the cards for me. It is what it is.
Sure.
I can try my damnedest, but
Yeah.
I can't get any taller. So I had to get good at something, and I thought, well, if I can be quick-witted enough, I can maybe do something with this business. If you put a microphone in my hand, just give me an opportunity. I'll either sink or swim. And it's part of the reason why I took 4 years of telecommunications in high school.
Oh, there you
love
go.
it.
Filming,
that always
editing, and all
helps.
that stuff, being in front of a camera, holding a microphone, being able to, not get phased when a camera gets put in your face, and being able to just lean into it and be larger in life. So, from the time I probably started high school, I was doing everything in my power, I thought, at that point, outside of, going to an accredited school and getting trained, which I wouldn't do for years and years later. But I would just cut promos on everybody, cut promos on my friends, and just try to be manager.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
that's cool.
That's great. Yeah,
that's cool.
I know it's a buckle your seatbelt up, kids. I have ADHD. It's really fun, but it also can be confusing as shit at times.
Just, okay, we do too.
I'm right there with
that's
you.
fine. You're good.
Be along
I'm pretty
for the
sure
ride.
all of us have it.
I'm pretty sure we all have ADHD in some form or another. But
right.
I was gonna say, talking on the mic is, I think, when people think of pro wrestling, I think they think of like the actual wrestling part, right? Which is fair. Me personally, I love me a damn good story. I love me a good talker, because I guess it's because I like to talk.
You like to talk? What?
Guilty, but like, so that's why, like, when I was growing up, guys like The Rock resonated with me. Charismatic as hell, just so quick witted. I like to think Josh Ashcraft is a pretty quick witted guy on the mic.
I appreciate that.
We were talking this.
Look at me. I have to be. I have nothing else going for me.
Yeah, look at that face. Why would you want to, no, but like,
so punchable.
No, but very punchable, right? But we were just at PopCon this past weekend, as of this recording this past weekend, and we did our show there, and we have friends that do improv, and I'm going to make this connection till it's getting old, but we have friends that do improv comedy, and I'm sitting there watching this. I'm like, this is just like pro wrestling without the wrestling. I mean, they're talking shit to each other. They're being funny. I mean, there's a lot of funny shit
involved.
They're getting the crowd involved. They're feeding off the crowd. And a lot of what people do in professional wrestling is exactly that. Feeding off the crowd.
Funnily enough, I tell my kids that. So I'm the loosest version of an instructor that the academy has. I'm that Thursday hands-on experience. Okay, you're going to learn something different pretty much every day.
Hell yeah.
While you complete your normal grunt work pass. But that's something I tell my kids. I'm like, the Sin City Outlaws. All right. Mad Dog Martin and Gambler Luke Hartman.
Okay.
They're a couple of my students. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, yes, and cut your promo on me. Okay. And keep going.
Yeah.
You need to tell me this entire story. Like, I'm just going to keep hitting you with the why. Okay. Why?
Yeah.
Okay. Why? I'm going to question you at every turn, and I need you to have an answer for that. If you can figure it out and roll with it and live in that moment, it's real. When it's real to you, it's real to the crowd.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying completely believe your own bullshit, but believing a little bit of it helps.
Right.
Of course. I mean, that's
method acting to a degree,
That's kind of what we are. We're method acting, live action, one take stuntmen.
Yeah.
But one chance to get it right.
Yeah, that's why it cracks me up when people always talk about wrestling not being real and stuff, and I'm just like, movies aren't, like TV shows aren't.
And I always equate it with, like you said, the stuntman, because I use that example a lot.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, well, movies, they have stuntmen. Like, wrestling is like a soap opera where they do their own stunts. Like, it's
you guys do put your bodies on the line.
It is like an improv soap opera where they do their own stunts,
and that shit hurts. That shit really
A
hurts,
lot.
man. Like I've taken bumps
A
before. That
lot.
shit fucking hurts, man. And like people act like that what you guys do, you don't feel pain. I'm like, I bet they wish they didn't feel pain
Oh shit!
because
I
it would
wish I
make doing
couldn't.
this a lot
Yeah.
easier.
Oh my god,
You know?
dude!
Tell
Like,
tell 'em about the pain, Josh. What's the pain in pro wrestling mean to you?
it sucks. My neck makes this cool grinding noise every time I turn it side to side.
Yep. Yep.
My knees
Okay.
crack and pop like twisting 20-ounce bottles.
Yeah.
I've broken both of my ankles multiple times. Everything fucking hurts, dude.
Dude, yeah,
Um,
man.
it just everything sucks. But
Man.
and that's for me. That's for a manager. That's for a part-time in my prime, part-time in-ring wrestler. Um, the guys that do this shit. I mean, Al for the longest time, like
Yeah.
he has what we call Batman neck. Like
Okay.
from all the damage done, that when you talk to him, if you come up behind him,
Yeah,
and
he
he
has
has
to
to
Well,
turn
he
I
has
his
to
see.
turn
entire
his
upper
I can
body to
see
speak to
that.
you.
Yeah.
yeah, he has to
Yeah,
turn his
Yeah.
whole body when he
Yep.
talks to you.
I
yeah.
can see that.
And it's like Jesus Christ, man. But we do it because it's an addiction, just like anything else. I
Mm-hmm.
know it's not going to be good for me in the long run, but
Mm-hmm.
you only live once, you can't die twice. I only got to do this shit again.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I've always appreciated what wrestlers do. I mean, even when I was
Yeah.
a kid, and I would do backyard wrestling, shit like that.
We all did
Uh,
at one point in
we
time or
all did it.
another. I was
I was
just
like,
having
we
this
all
Oh
did it.
yeah.
conversation today.
Shit, I did it too when I was a kid. It's
Yeah.
house and everything.
Sure.
And like I got down there and wrestled with the boys like the best of them, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Mhm.
pictures somewhere.
Yeah. I mean,
My
yeah. I mean, but
we
for
built a
you,
ring. We
yeah.
built an actual ring. We sunk fence
Oh,
posts.
nice.
We laid down tires, plywood, and then carpet padding. We strung ropes up. They weren't tight at all, but we built a platform on one
Yeah.
corner that you could jump off of and shit. So that was okay, I'm going to do a froggy splash. Oh, I know where you're going then. Because there ain't nowhere else to climb.
When you have these students who are coming into this for the first time, what is it, or if you were to tell people that are listening to this, like what are some things they need to make sure they're checking off first about themselves to be prepared mentally and physically before they even dare go to like academy? Like what is it? Because like I think a lot of people just watch it on TV, like,
Sure.
oh, I can do that, and they just want to rush
Yeah.
to go into academy, right? Which, by the way, if you guys don't know, OVW Academy is like one of the best. They're like accredited. You
Yep.
guys are top notch. I need to come and sit on a class at least once. I would love to just sit in, not just to see what
We're
it's
the
about.
only place
That's
that
so cool.
does live weekly television broadcasts.
Yeah.
So when
Mhm.
you come into the academy, you're not just going to learn wrestling. You're also going to learn the financial,
Yes,
the saving aspect of it with Mike Bucci, formerly
which
known
is
as
great.
Nova, and
Oh yeah, I
Simon
love
Simon
Boone.
Dean. Oh yeah.
You're learning from Al Snow. You're learning from Doug Basham. When Cash Flow is not filming Tulsa King on Paramount Plus, check it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, go check it out.
Bigfoot. Had to throw in the cheap plug for my boy.
There you
Uh,
go.
you're learning from Mike Walden, Cash Flow, a man with 27 years of pro wrestling experience at this point. Jay De Niro, myself, a lot of the guys in OVW take a very hands-on approach,
Yeah,
but you're also learning production. You're
yeah.
learning camera switching, running the camera, doing audio, hitting sound cues.
That's
You're
amazing.
learning
it.
you're
Is.
learning all of it. You get the entire experience so that like
Yeah.
I told one of my guys in the past, like one of the students came in, because I tell everybody this. I'm like, look, just because you might not be the guy standing in the center of the ring at WrestleMania holding up a championship,
Yeah.
doesn't mean you can't be an important part of this business if you care. You could be that referee that made that dramatic run, and right before you hit the ring, John Cena clobbers you. You might be
R.I.P.
that camera
That
guy
was
that goes,
amazing, by the way.
right.
Love that. Love that.
You
Yep.
you might be that camera guy that knows exactly where to be. I used to equate it to Edge and Jeff Hardy with the spear, with the shot that gets replayed
Oh,
over and
oh yeah,
over again.
WrestleMania.
You could have been
Yeah.
the dude that took that
TLC2.
shot, you
Yeah.
know? Like, or even
Yeah.
John Cena's made it a point to shout out his cameraman, dude that's got to chase him to the ring every single night. You can be important in this business if you're willing to learn and if you're coachable. So if you're asking
Yeah.
me what would I tell people coming in, cardio. Cardio, 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 because they will run you until you puke, and you have to be able to go. If they tell you, "Hey, man, you've got to get 30 minutes in the ring. You got to go pull a half hour tonight." Can you do that? Because just having good cardio because you're a runner or you bike is nothing like in-ring cardio, because you're hitting ropes, you're taking bumps, you have to be able to think on your feet as well.
Yeah.
So if you have your wind up, it will help. Mentally, coachability. Do not have an ego. We all do. I did it when I started. Everybody does it when, there's nobody that's been purely humble from day one, except for maybe one or two people. And Buzz Backlund was too good for this business anyways. Love that kid. I miss him.
Yeah, he was great.
But
yeah.
Be coachable and be malleable. Don't have an ego about it, because
there you go,
brother, you ain't done anything yet. And you might be amazing one day, but that day ain't today.
Right.
You got to get there. So
I was gonna say,
those are my big things. People, like new people wanting to come in, understand it's going to be hard.
Yeah,
but you have to be mentally tough too. It's not nearly as bad as it was when I broke in, or even when the people before me broke in. It was, everybody's heard the horror stories, and it wasn't all exactly sunshine and rainbows for me either. However, I stuck it out. 15 years later, I'm still doing this stuff. 14 and a half, whatever, who's counting? But I'm still here, and I've made it a point to try to make it easier for newer people coming in, make them feel more welcomed and stuff like that. But at the same time, you're still going to catch 9 kinds of hell, just because it's a sport, and that's what happens when you get a bunch of testosterone junkies together.
Oh, you mean when a bunch of guys with egos are around each other, you mean there might be some problems?
Just a little bit.
Do you find that people have stuck it out more in recent years than they did before, or less, or is it just kind of like a catch shoot?
It's kind of 50-50, to be honest with you. Like, the problem is everybody comes in and they think within 2 to 3 years they're going to be either making big money in WWE or some huge name on the indies or whatever it was. And I've seen dozens of people come through that I thought were highly talented, extremely athletic, very, they look the part.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't, there was something about it that they just weren't ready for. And I've seen people walk away that I'm going, you have the look, you have the height, you've got the build, like your promos could use some work, but hey, so I could tell everybody, if you were that fucking good, why are you here? Why aren't you making $1 million? Everybody, we're always learning, we're always getting better, we're always evolving.
Yeah.
But
and hell, not even some of the top people in WWE.
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, hell, not even some of the top people in WWE are good on the microphone. I mean, like, not everybody's going to be good, like 100% at everything. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses in their job.
It's the people you least expect sometimes.
And that's a good point.
What I mean by that is there's a gentleman that you've been seeing in some of our Overdrive tapings and some of the dark matches and house shows, Rollo Haynes.
Okay.
Rollo Hargrove. I don't know. He's changed it like 3 times. I get confused every week and they have to correct me. It's like I tell AJ and Linda, I don't go to production meetings. I just show up. Let's go. We'll do it live, bro. Like, I don't know anything.
When I commentate.
I just want to go to the desk and I'm like, I'm just going to react to what I see.
Thank you.
Further the story that I know needs to be told.
Yeah.
Because if I get caught up on other stuff, then I'm going to start telegraphing shit and I'm going to start leaning into one thing more because I know that we need to talk. I don't want to do that. Just let me go react. Yeah. But Rollo Hargrove, affectionately known to us as Morty, he is a dude that came in about, it's probably been 10 or 11 years at this point. That he came in and like he was a Rip kid. He went to Rip's classes. Like he's been around.
Oh, okay.
So he's been around for a while. And
Rip Rogers,
yeah. So he always either did camera for us or he did sound or we just had him doing whatever. And then he really leaned into it and started taking it seriously about 2 years ago. give or take, I want to say. Started really
Yeah.
dieting, going to the gym, working out, getting his body in better shape, going to class, working out hard with Doug during class, helping the new students. And he's really like, I told him the other day, I'm like, dude, if you had told me this when we met, I never would have believed it. I'm so proud of you and where you've gone, or where you're going. Because he is the epitome of stick to it, work your ass off, love it, you'll get something out of it.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say when it comes to going to a wrestling academy. Oh, come here. Sorry, our dog's keeps getting under our table.
They're
it's all good.
tonight,
Scooby's sitting
and
here just staring
she's
at
like
me.
scared.
Well, I just don't want.
Yeah, they're already shooting fireworks where I'm at, so I'm surprised you guys haven't heard it.
They let some off in the neighborhood the other day, and Scooby's an OVW dog anyways. He was running around wild in the parking lot at a show like last April, and he actually tried to come in through the side door of the building. And it was hotter than hell in there. And they closed the side door, and I muted my mic, and I leaned over and I yelled at Brian Roof, Cornbread. I go, Cornbread, why the hell are you closing the door, dude? I'm sweating my ass off up here. He's like, there's a dog trying to get in. I go out after the show. It's sitting in the parking lot eating pizza and wings from all the kids and hot dogs. And I opened my car door because I was still on menthols at the time. I opened my car doors to get a smoke and just jumped in the passenger seat and stared at me like, all right, we rolling?
All right, we back.
Sorry, guys.
We're friends now, yeah.
No, you're good.
Trying to drag her out from under the table, and it unplugged everything.
But yeah, no, Scooby was rescued from the parking lot at OVW. He's been with me ever since. Hell, even his collar is the old dog collar that we used to hang belts off of in the building.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so like he's
How old
OV
is
dog.
he?
We think he's about 2, maybe 2.5. Yeah, he's a sweetheart. He's a big dope.
It's wonderful.
Don't hit the and he hits the table. Yes,
Hit the table.
See,
Daddy's giving you attention.
See, it's happening to you too.
Yep, that was it.
Yeah.
Come here.
No, I would say that when it comes to going to where I was going with my thought before things happen, I think if you have to go to any wrestling academy, and I would assume you would agree, you might want to check your pride at the door, right? Because you can't come in thinking that you're hot shit, and people do this, and people will do this respectfully at any job. Honestly, like it doesn't matter. Not just pro wrestling. They do this. I worked 20 years in retail, for fuck's sake. All right, I know all about
I did too.
People. Yeah, so you get it. All about people who are like, oh, I can talk to people. I'll be the best salesman here, and then they just suck ass, right?
Yeah.
And because they don't know the product, they don't know what they're selling. They just think, oh, I can sell anything, and then they can't. So for me, it's going to a wrestling academy. You got to check your pride at the door, right? And you got to understand that, like, I know Raven was saying this too. You might not be John Cena, okay? You might not be John Cena by the time all things are said and done.
Right.
But you will gain a lot of knowledge. That's what I like about the OVW Academy is you're not just teaching about what happens in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
You're teaching about how an entire production comes together and why
Well, not
all of that matters.
I think you're setting everybody up for success in whatever way they choose to go about doing that in the wrestling career.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not about, I mean, yes, it is about loving wrestling, but I mean, it's about, I mean, that's what they're there for is to become successful. And that's going to look different for, everybody. Sure. Some people might go to the academy wanting to, thinking they want to wrestle and then might fall in love with camera work or,
or being a commentator or being a referee or, I mean, there's so much to, I mean, and this happens like in sports, right? You'll have a guy who maybe he's a wide receiver, then he ends up finding out, oh, wait, maybe I'm better at this other position instead. And then they find out that really they were meant to be a tight end. I don't know. Yeah. It's just how that happens, right?
Chris Sharp is a great example of that. He's a WWE referee Chip Danning now. I also have a 3-0 record against him, so haha. But he started out as a pro wrestler in Virginia, came to OVW, and I think he had started refereeing in Virginia a little bit. But when he came to OVW, he started refereeing for us. And, I mean, he's hands down one of the best referees I've ever worked with, worked against, whatever. Taught me, pretty much everything from the ground up. Him and a guy named Bill Clark, but Package really was the guy that leaned heavy into teaching me. And now he's in WWE.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
It's just your path. There's a path for you. You just have to figure out what it is. And nobody can really tell you exactly what it is. We can push you in a direction, but, it's the whole lead a horse to water thing.
So what I'll say for you in your career as a wrestler, what were some of the things that you have learned throughout your journey that have been valuable to you to be a better wrestler? Like in general, not just like if you learned anything from ABW, but your time as a wrestler. What was some valuable things you learned?
Man, being able to change things up on the fly. Think on your feet. Like everybody, I know it's going to make me sound like the disgruntled old man, but everybody wants to call 100% of your shit in the back, and it's like, brother, I can't remember what I did for lunch. Did I even eat lunch while wearing pants? Where the hell am I?
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember that. So do me a favor. We got the finish. We have whatever important highs that we need to hit in the match.
Right.
We have a rough idea. Let's just go out there and do some shit. Like, because you might walk through, and this is something people don't understand. You go to these independent shows, and hey, how much I don't work as many independent shows as I used to, but I've gone to promoters and been like, hey, how much time do we have? Because I'm that manager. Like, I've done it long enough. I've been around it long enough that I understand half-ass what I'm talking about. So let me have some input, because I will help make you look good. Like I just did an independent show in Arkansas for Tony Gunn a couple of weeks ago, working with a guy I'd never worked with before. And I was like, look, man, I'm not trying to step on your dick here, but here's what they want. Why don't we do this? And what do you think about if you did this? Can you do this? And just talking to the guy. All right, well, I half-assed amount of what we were going to do here. Went and talked it over because Tony was running it, and I went and talked it over. Tony was like, dude, you're fine. I trust you. So we went out there, and everything we did worked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you pre-plan all of your bullshit, because we had to change a couple things up real quick on the fly. And I'm if we had stuck to everything that we had talked about, hey, what if we did this? What if we did that? It wouldn't have worked as well.
Yeah.
Because we went out, and I didn't know. I'd never been there before, and the guy that I'm working with worked in that area is both a babyface and a heel on other sides of it. So we didn't really know how the crowd was going to respond.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, let's try. Here's what we'll do if they act like, if they boo us, we'll do something like this. If they cheer us, maybe we'll lean more in this direction. And it was kind of like a mixed response that we got, but I leaned into it heavy, talking him up. So I'm like, okay, he's got to be here next week. The company that he's working for that's near this area has him as like their babyface champion. I'm not gonna like lean into the whole Easton villain. This is a monster thing with the guy. I talked him up.
Yeah.
You're a good dude, blah, blah, blah. And then I leaned into being a little bit of a needling prick about halfway through. And then by the time it was all said and done, he looked great. Because I looked at him and I was like, when I go to get in your face or whatever after, because he lost at the end, we did like a 3-segment thing.
Okay.
And he eventually lost to Donovan Cecil, of all people, actually.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
So it was fun.
That's awesome.
But I said, hey, after it's all said and done, man, like we'll interact in one way or the other, regardless of what the outcome is going to be. So we're out there.
Right. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and he like kind of rolls over and looks at me. I'm like, just listen to me. So Donovan and him did the thing. They shook their hands, and I got up. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I said, just give me a look. And he just, and I'm okay, I'm out. Goodbye. See you later. Took off like a little chicken shit. And he stood out there and shahayed with the crowd and then sold a bunch of T-shirts afterwards.
That's great.
And I was like, bro, if we had just stuck to the A, B, C, Ds that had been talked about prior, it wouldn't have worked. You just got to kind of roll with punches and shit, Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's kind of like an outline, and you just got to fill in the rest of the story as you go. Like you have your points that you have to hit, and then the rest is just how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they call it a canvas for a reason. Go out there and make a piece of art for me to enjoy.
Yep.
So I want you to do.
Absolutely.
Paint a picture.
Yeah, we did so there was a really cool thing that what was the last time we saw you actually? Speaking of
I was gonna say
we saw this was the coolest thing.
it really
I never imagined I'd get to be a fan and cheer for some of my favorite people at a damn art museum of all places. But you know, it's pro wrestling, and I know Josh, both of you would agree because Josh Shaver also is a wrestler as well.
Mm.
You never know where the fuck you're going to watch wrestling at, and
No.
like when they would say in WWE anything can happen,
literally
they don't just mean
Mhm.
in WWE. It's like in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Literally, I mean, when you haven't Raven also, by the way, has not watched a lot of the old Attitude Era stuff. She has missed out.
Oh, yeah.
She has only been a real fan for like 3 years. So
Okay.
she did not get the pleasure to watch Stone Cold Steve Austin and Booker T wrestle in an entire fucking grocery store.
Nope.
That
milk.
right? That I mean, but so when
that
we
and the price check on Jackass, that was the best line ever.
Ah, that was great.
You'll watch that one day, I promise you. But
I'm very limited on what I'm allowed to watch right now because of the shows.
Yeah, we have a react to a match like on our second show of the month, and it's a random one. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But going to the Speed Art Museum, which is in Louisville, Kentucky, by the way, wonderful place. I've been there before. I am a person that enjoys fine art, and I think the finest art that I've enjoyed there was professional wrestling a few weeks ago.
That was so much fun.
Dude, it was wild. Like I've done shows.
Insane. Yeah,
it's like you never know where it's going to take you. I have done shows at. I did a show at a strip club. The next day, I did a show at an elementary school.
Wow!
You did a show where was the next day?
In elementary school.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so we had in the gym of an elementary school somewhere in like Indiana. I have done shows at recovery centers. I've done shows at literally we set up once, and this drove me nuts. We had a tour schedule set up for the Netflix series, right?
Yeah.
We had like 50 dates.
I know, yeah.
And a bunch of them wound up getting canceled or changed or whatever over the course of that summer.
But
one of them got mispromoted.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So we went to do a show it was supposed to be like some big festival at a park.
Okay.
And we're like, okay, cool. Like, this will be great. We do this shit all the time. Like, it's normal for us.
Right.
We get there and I'm like, hey, where are we setting up? They're like, oh, over here by the big, like, pond. I'm like, oh, okay. So, like, I see off in the distance, there's like a stage set up and all kinds of shit. I'm like, oh, okay, this will be cool. We get out there and we're like trying to start setting our shit up. And they're like, hey, don't put the guy from the park shows up and goes, hey, don't put anything on the stage. We're like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay, why not? Like, then why is it out here? Like, it's just a big ass metal stage in the middle of a park next to a lake. What the hell else are we supposed to do with it? Yeah. Like, no, that's not for you guys. That's for a band later. We don't want the weight of the ring to make it sink or off kilter. And I'm like, okay, so where do we set up? Oh, go over to the other side of the pond and set up in the grass over there. And I'm like, dude, the festival's like a 3 or 4 minute drive on the other side of this park, and now you're putting us even further away from like the main road. But
yeah,
all right, what do I know? We literally set the ring up and did a show in front of 8 people.
Oh my god!
In the middle of a park, in the middle of like July or August, just sweating our ass off. No locker room. Ring truck is the locker room. Throw a curtain up and go. Like. As much as that shit sucks sometimes, because it's like, dude, you know, where there's they didn't even tell people that we had wrestling here. They're not directing them our way. But we gave those 8 people, legitimately gave those 8 people a 90-minute show that had them enjoying. They were cheering, booing, laughing, enjoying it. Like, screw it, man. We're gonna give these people that showed up for us. We're gonna give them the best show possible. We told them, like, look, guys. Don't worry about your lawn chairs. Straight up, there's not that many of you. Get in your car, turn your AC on, pull up towards the ring.
Oh, that's great.
And we did it like a drive-in theater. We had people sitting in their car in the ACs.
That's fun, though.
Watching us do it.
No, that's
and I guarantee you there are people that that are still remembering that show to this day because,
I bet.
Hell yeah, dude.
What?
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
we're already here. The ring's set up.
Hell
What are we going to
yeah.
do? Just tear it down and go home? Fuck no.
Right?
Let's go put on stretchy pants and hit each other.
Fuck yeah.
Exactly. I had something like that happen with me. We were supposed to be inside an Elks Lodge, I think it was. And they go, oh, no, we don't want you doing that inside. You can have the field next to us. And it was, I'm talking the middle of August, but we had like 40 people show up to the show and stay the whole time. And we're like around the corner going, why the fuck are these people here? I'm dying. But we were killing ourselves for them.
Dude, some of those shows on that tour, and like it drove me nuts too, because the camera crews like, hey guys, we're doing a show like 6 hours away. This is absolutely one to be at.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we can't make that one. It's too many hours because they have to have X amount of hours down per union rules. Like they can only be up and filmed for X amount, travel for X amount. And it's like, shit, because they're missing the best stuff. Like the ring truck blowing out a tire on the way home from a hazard show at 4:00 in the morning on 65, having to get Adam Revolver's wife to come pick us all up to take us back to the building so the next day I could turn around and drive back and take the tire off and drive the truck and the ring back. And I'm like, you guys want to go with me? This is the real shit that happens in wrestling.
Right.
Yeah. I know we're just going to film this. And it's like, all right,
yeah,
get in. So, you know, that was like the thing that got me is those are the types of shows that really make it worth it for what we do. Because those people that came out, like we were running shows in like outdoor like horse arenas. Like you go to a state fair and they've got that one giant ring where they will do monster trucks and a horse show and all that other shit.
Yeah.
We're setting up in the middle of that. It's 100 degrees in the shade with like 100% humidity, and there's still people in the bleachers. And it's like, regardless of how much this sucks for us, we get to go be comic book characters and action figures and whatever for this chunk of time. And these people are dedicating chunks of their life, literally, to come see us do this shit. So why wouldn't you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand. I completely understand the fact that you guys don't know who's going to be. I mean, that's the thing. That's the other thing too, is like, you don't know who's going to be in attendance, who's going to watch your show, who's going to be, you know, cheering you guys on, like from whether it's a crowd of 8 people, like you guys just said, or a crowd of like 800 people, right? To be fair. I think what's cool about that is I've been to a lot of shows. I've been to like all the major brands. Raven had to step away for a second, but I've been to all the big brands. While yes, I love going to like a we'll say 30,000 show like Royal Rumble. I went to Royal Rumble earlier this year in Indy. For me, I think I have the most fun at the intimate shows. Like I love going to the smaller crowds. I like seeing the kids go. Like I know, like OVW, you guys have Gracie. She's something else. You guys always have a really great turnout for kids. And I will say this: go to OVW. Go check it out. I mean, bring your kids. Right? It is. You guys do a really great job over there. 4400 Shepherdsville Road, by the way. Go take your kids. I love seeing the kids. I love seeing this stuff get passed down to the next generation because those kids, who knows, we might see Gracie wrestling in OVW one day.
Exactly.
Funny that you say that. There's a kid named Chance Karpinski.
Okay.
That just graduated from Doug's class, I believe. Which is, you know, once you start going through the academy, once you get with Doug, that's your you're either getting this or you're not. Scooby, cool. Stop it. But Chance's dad started bringing him and his sister when they were like 4.
Yeah.
And I literally watched him grow up in the crowd.
Yeah.
To the point to where he became one of my students. And now he's going to be moving on to doing more like in-ring stuff as well. So like I've watched this kid grow up. I've been there through, you know, the big moments in his life when he graduated high school and shit, when he sadly lost his grandmother, who we all loved. She was a great, you know, member of the OVW faithful. Like, but Evan Chance now is a grown man and taking bumps and stuff. Like, that's awesome, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
that is really generational, handing
It's
stuff
great.
down.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, we look at people that we watch like on AEW and TNA and WWE, and like Bailey's a great example. She met like Triple
Yeah.
H and John Cena, and now she's doing it herself.
Yeah,
I love that. I love seeing, because I'll be looking at the crowd too, like, all right, I'm gonna try to remember some of these young people because I might see them later, and down
right.
the road in the ring. Um, how important is it to you, Josh, to pass down the art of professional wrestling to the future? Like, what's that mean? What's that mean to you?
Everything.
Yeah.
Legitimately everything. Like, I say it all the time, and I mean it. It's an old Tracy Smothers thing, man. Leave
Oh
the
God, I
business
love
better than
Tracy
you found
Smothers,
it.
man. Yeah,
You know,
Yes.
yeah, for sure.
it pops me every time Brandon Beretta hits him with the old cross chop to the throat. It's always
Yeah,
from day one on
yeah.
commentary. That's the Tracy Smothers, man. You
That's a
get him
Tracy
with
Smothers
I'll get
thing.
you with the Tracy and then blah blah blah.
Mhm.
But it means the world to me because
Yeah, I bet.
this business, the thing that I think people lose sight of with newer, younger people coming in or coming up, everybody's afraid of a spot. A spot, brother, ain't none of us got a spot unless we're on a national or international, rather, roster
Right,
somewhere.
right.
But
Yeah.
this business, these kids coming
Hmm.
into this business, they are going to be the ones that are going to be taking over for us when we can't do it anymore. And if we
Yeah.
want
Yeah,
to have longevity for this business, we
yeah.
have to do everything we can to help this younger generation get it so that we
Hmm.
can continue on not only being able to be a part of it ourselves, but for it to thrive as a whole. Because
Yeah,
wrestling, it's the oldest form of entertainment on the planet.
yeah,
It really is.
And we're not going to let it die on our watch.
yeah.
Yeah, it really is. A lot of people don't realize how long wrestling has been around.
Yeah, we're like
Yeah.
hundreds of years. Like, and that was cool.
Oh
Like when
yeah.
we went to the art
Museum,
museum thing.
yeah.
Because Al Snow, by the way, and let's talk about him for a second, man. Oh man,
What a
this
guy.
guy, what a great guy.
All right.
You
We can
know,
talk
Huge.
about Al.
you know,
He do a good impression.
you do a good impression of him. Yeah, that's cool.
I've spent a lot of time in my life around that man.
Al Snow, for those who don't know, he's the guy running OVW. This guy is a national treasure. I will say he is a national treasure, not just to pro wrestling, but just to, I don't know, like I feel like he's an icon. Like he's funny. If you follow him on social media, the guy cracks some of the worst dad jokes I've seen.
Yeah.
I bet his wife Jessica's just rolling her eyes all the fucking time watching his shit.
Jesus, you should have him in your ear during commentary. It's a fucking nightmare.
Oh man, don't worry, we're gonna talk about the commentary
He's the
side in a second. Don't
biggest
worry, we ain't
pain
done
in
with
my
that
ass
yet.
sometimes.
But he is such a great person. I've had the
He
pleasure of meeting
is.
him times. I've had a few light discussions with him. If we hope to get him on here one day and get a nice full conversation with him. But what is that like for you, getting to learn from a guy like that who is a legend? He was in WWE, did some stuff in ECW for a while. What's that like? See the big smile on your face as I just as I just
I'm
disappear.
saying I'm
But yeah,
smiling because my answer is going to be unexpected for you, frustrating beyond all belief at times.
Mm.
I
okay,
bet.
yeah, I
Like
can
Al
see
Boss.
is
that.
Yeah.
very
I can see that.
Al
Yeah.
is very much a dad figure.
Yep. I believe it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's never wrong. He's always, no, god damn it. Okay. And then when you're right, he'll be, well, I mean, it worked. All right, old man, I got you.
Totally hear him say.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
he's very much a dad. The longer you're around Al, and the more time you spend with him, the more that
Yeah.
he will pick up on whether or not you get it, if you're serious about it, if you
Mm-hmm.
really care. He'll teach anybody. But when
Yeah.
it comes down to really taking the time, he takes time
Yeah.
with everybody, don't get me wrong, but it's very surreal and humbling at times
I bet. Yeah.
because I'll give a personal example. Me and the LOB one night went out there to get some heat, and his thing's always been, I'd rather pull you back than try to push you to go further.
Oh, that's good.
And
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
good.
we had done great business, but we stared down the entire babyface part of the locker room. We're throwing chairs at them in the ring and shit. And as the guys are going through the curtain, I'm jaw jacking. And if you watched, I don't remember what episode it is, but I had it clipped for the longest time. You see me talking shit, and then all of a sudden it's like somebody hooked me and pulled me through the curtain.
Yeah.
Al
Yeah.
reached through the curtain, grabbed me by my collar, and yanked me back through it. Get your ass back here. What the hell's wrong with you? And we're like, I thought we did a good job. Oh, shit. What's wrong? And he just starts lighting us up. And in that moment, like you do, you feel like me, Cash High, we're all standing around like, oh, man. Like, oh, man, we pissed Dad off.
Yeah.
But
That's
it was a
great.
great teaching moment
man.
because he explained, like, yeah, we
Yeah.
thought we had done awesome, and we
Yeah.
did, but here's where you could have done this instead. Or if you hadn't done this, it would have made it that. And it's those little things that you don't think about
It's you.
that he triggers in your head. And you're like, oh my God, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So getting to learn from him is it's frustrating because right when you think that you're doing it right,
You're doing it wrong.
he switches up all the questions on the next test, and you're like, dude, I didn't study for this.
Come on.
It's to make you better, and it's to make you be able to adapt and to work and to learn.
That's a good point.
And all that
Keeps you guessing. Yeah,
exactly. It's awesome, but it's also very frustrating at times.
dude, I bet. Yeah, he reminds me. His demeanor reminds me of like an old college football coach, college basketball coach. Like he's got that. Like you could win the championship, be like, good job, good job. Like,
You'll
not expressive really, but it's okay. I mean,
the
fine.
best we ever got.
Yeah.
We got to a point where we'd come through the curtain and I'd stick my head in a gorilla and just go. And if he gave us the thumbs up, we fucked off and went that way. Like we're not gonna let him pick it apart. We got a thumbs up. We're good. We're gone. That's as close as we're gonna get to a good job.
This is great. So we're segueing right into the next point I want to talk about is the behind the scenes stuff. So I know right now, kayfabe is kind of dead. It's pretty dead right now. With you being on a commentator, you have more of a, I would say, more behind the scenes role. As you've you're still wrestling, but as far as OVW goes, you've transitioned a bit away from that now. Hopefully, we get to see you back in the OVW ring. I would love to see. I would love to see Ashcraft back on OVW TV. But how does it feel with this all emergence now of it's just scripted. It's just, and I want to talk about Netflix wrestlers too. This is a great tie-in because what was that like? I know, I'd imagine, and I haven't talked to Al about this, but I would imagine for Al it was a little tough. Or Doug Basham, but for you specifically, one, what was the wrestler show like for you from your perspective, and then two, what was it like? What's it like for you to see just this emergence of like these companies are just so open now and transparent about, we have a writing team. Yeah, it's a TV. We all know it's a TV show. Let's be real, right? It's TV, right? At the end of the day, when you're going to a show, you're basically on the set of a TV show, right?
Right.
So, what's that been like for you as someone who kind of grew up with pro wrestling, and then now it's just like it feels so exposed now, right?
Oh, exposed. That's a good word.
It's more exposed than it's ever been. However, Al always says like people have known wrestling was a work since the 20s.
Of course, yeah.
It is what it is. There was a whole thing in like the New York Times about it, exposing it at one point in time. But look at that. It's 100 years later and people don't care.
Yeah,
like, of course. I'm not trying. Okay, so I'll put it to you like this. I know that you know, but you know that I know that you know, right? Sounds confusing, but okay.
It's like a gentleman's agreement between us, right?
Right.
Going into the whole
on this
arena.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
If I do my job well enough, I can make you forget.
Yes.
Even for a split second, if I can make you forget, I've done my job right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of times where people will go, "Oh, I saw that coming. Oh, I saw that coming. Oh, I knew they were going to do that." and then we get you with something you didn't see.
Yes.
What the hell?
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
This is all
CM
about.
Punk re-debuting in WWE after they've run. Like, I didn't see Punk come back. I watched Survivor Series. I saw the Leaf Fitting producer thing or whatever it was pop up. I'm like,
It was
okay,
good, by
show's
the
over.
way.
Switched it off, and then there's Punk. Holy shit.
Yeah.
No one saw that coming, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They get you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it. Like, Al says the only thing that's fake about our business is the finish. And I agree. Because I'm agreeing to let you beat me, right? Or
Mhm.
I'm agreeing that it's the best for business that I do this, whatever
Yeah.
it may be.
Oh man, yeah.
I have to do my job to the best of my ability.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My job is to, when I'm a heel, it's garner heat. What is heat? You know, you can say it's anything, but it's a visceral reaction, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So I want you in that moment to forget what you're watching and forget who I am. And I want you to think about your boss that you can't tell off, your best friend that you're pissed off at that you can't really yell the things you want to yell, your spouse,
Mhm.
your whatever, your kids, your everything.
Yeah.
Take that energy and put it into what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Put that behind how you feel, because I'm going to try to trigger something inside of you that's going to draw a little bit of that emotion out. The moment I see it start to come out, I'm grabbing it and I'm pulling as hard as I can. So I want to pull every bit of it out of you. So for that 15 minutes or whatever that I have your attention, I want to make you forget about real life, forget about the outside world, and
Mhm.
live and enjoy that moment. And when it's all over, you can be like, damn. Yeah, I know they probably talked about it all backstage, but they really had me on that one. So all we're trying to do, and if everybody can do that right, it doesn't matter if kayfabe's dead or broken or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Being on the Netflix show, for me at first, I didn't want them around.
Yeah.
Oh
I
really?
wanted no part of the show at all. I
Why
did
not?
not want to be a part of the show.
How come?
I didn't like the idea of pulling back our curtain to outsiders, let alone pulling
Okay.
back our curtain completely to the rest of the world, because
Yeah.
OVW to me has always been a very personal thing.
Mm.
So to
Yeah.
have been someone that wanted to be with OVW for as long as I had and worked my ass off to get to where I'm at in OVW,
Yeah.
it was hard for me to be okay with exposing all of that. And it was honestly a conversation with Doug that changed my opinion on it,
Okay.
because Doug was like, man, if Vince can do it, or if WWE will do it,
Yeah.
and it's working for them, it's a chance to get yourself over, kid. Go try to get yourself over.
Yeah, dude.
And after that, I did. They wound up miking me up after like the second week, and I was mic'd for every time they were there. I had a mic on me.
Wow.
A lot of my stuff in the Netflix show, I'm in every episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
In various roles and positions, but you hear me more than you see me.
Right.
And because a lot of that, they told me, they were like, dude, you're a soundbite machine. And I'm like, well, I'm a
They're not
manager and a
wrong.
commentator. I have to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for that aspect of it, like, I just leaned into, you know what, I really am. A lot of people, they will say they didn't, but they played it up, they hammed it up because cameras were around.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
just didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're here or not. At one point, it was like 10 minutes till doors on a show day. And Al came to me and was like, hey, I need 2 tables gimmicked for a match later tonight. Do you think you can get that done? And I'm like, sure. Let me just drop everything right now and go do it. Because it's like, I love you, but mother, I've been here since noon. Like, what the okay. So I'm in a dress shirt, a vest, no pants, just boxer briefs, socks pulled up to my fucking knees, dress socks on, and I just start yelling for Deshaun, who was one of our students at the time.
Yeah.
He's now part of Black Diamond Entertainment.
Nice.
Doing one of my kids,
Hell
all my
yeah.
kids are doing great and I'm proud of them. But
Fuck
I start
yeah.
yelling for Deshaun through the building because I don't need a mic to be heard. And I hear me, I'm coming, just stay where you're at. And the camera crew is just booking straight towards me because they think I'm screaming at someone for something. I kept walking up, and I'm again no pants on. And they're like, "What the fuck is happening?" I'm like, "Sweetheart, do me a favor. I need 2 tables. Can you go grab them for me? I'll grab my band or my circular saw. We'll deal with it in a minute." And he was just like, "I got you. Do you need pants?" And I'm like, "They're in the locker room. I'll get them in a second." And the camera crew's standing there and they're like, "What is happening?" I'm like, "You're in my way. Move."
Get the fuck out of
Like,
my
I
way.
didn't
Yeah,
care they were there. I've got
Fucking
shit
work.
to do, man. I've got
Yeah.
I
doors
got
opening and a show to go. And they
got shit to
loved it.
do.
Like, I wasn't ever rude or mean to anybody, but I'm just like, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do what I need to do. If it makes the camera cool, if it doesn't, whatever. Because
Whatever.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm a Rip Rod, from that Rip Rogers era of
Oh yeah.
I'm
Oh yeah.
sometimes I'm not fit for public consumption. I say a lot of out of pocket shit. I cuss like a sailor, and I at the time was chain
Yes.
smoking like 2 packs a day because I was stressed all to hell. Because you got to think about it too. Like, it's
That's
not
great.
just, oh, they're going to see this, from a wrestling perspective. It's
Yeah.
people around the world are going to see you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
now, like, that's what we all want. But there's also a lot
Yeah.
of pressure that comes with that of
Yeah.
For sure.
however many, you know what I mean? Like, you
I get
lose
it.
a little bit more of your privacy with stuff
Right.
like that.
Well, and
So,
you never know how they're ultimately going to portray you in the end anyway.
Oh, that's true.
right,
Like with editing, I
Fact.
mean, we've all seen reality TV,
right,
and how they edit and slice things together isn't necessarily how it happens. So, I mean,
right.
how they, portray, I mean, yeah, I can't even imagine the pressure.
Have
Yeah,
you
and I
watched
was,
have you
huh?
watched the show yourself? Like from start to finish? Have you went back and looked at it?
I finally did. I've only watched it all the way through once.
Okay.
Um, we did a screening of like the first 4 or 5 episodes at OVW,
I remember that, yeah.
and I suffer from clinical depression, severe anxiety,
Yeah, I
social
feel that.
anxiety, amongst other things. Like, I have,
Okay.
I'm open about my mental health struggles, always have been.
Yeah, so are we.
Same, so
Wrestling,
are we. We suffer from those same things
it's
too.
very
Yeah.
weird. Like, I don't like being around a lot of people usually.
Sure. Sure.
Especially the older I've gotten, just kind of the more
That's
I'm just
me.
going to kick it at the house I've become,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool because
Yeah.
when the boys go out and I do make an appearance, like, holy shit, Ashcraft's here, buy him a high life.
Yeah.
But like, for me, wrestling has been a way for me also to cope with the real world.
Yeah.
So,
That's your
for
creative
better or
outlet.
worse, I threw myself into my gimmick.
Mhm.
And, there was a dark period where I was drinking heavily and I really was living like the Easton villain for a short period of time.
Okay.
And as much as I'm glad that I'm not that person anymore, I'm glad for the
Yeah.
experience because it allowed me to not only grow as a person,
Yeah.
but also understand what it means to embody the life of that character, as silly as it sounds. So
No,
that
it
when I
doesn't
step
sound
through the
silly at all.
curtain, I don't just go through the curtain and it's me turned up to 10. I go through the curtain and I step into someone else's skin.
Yeah.
And I'm basically
Gotcha.
just I'm a human mech suit for
That's
this
a good way to
deranged
put
son of
it.
a bitch that lives inside of my head.
That's a
Yeah.
good way
And
to put
I
it.
let him off the leash to go play for a little bit so I don't snap and fucking drive a bus full of puppies off a cliff.
Oh shit.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that outlet, it's that release valve for me.
Yeah.
So you mentioned working in retail. I worked at
Oh
Costco
God, yeah.
for about 13 years. And
Ooh.
I was
Yeah.
a front end supervisor amongst other things
Yeah.
for a long, long time. And wrestling allowed me not only to be able to vent a lot of my frustration and aggression that I couldn't towards customers, members, whatever, but it also gave me the ability to flip that switch.
Yeah.
And instead of me standing here stressing out, dealing with this, just let I like to call it my wrestling me take over.
Yeah.
And just baby face them, do whatever I need. If I need to put my foot down, be, blah, 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 whatever it was. I was able to transition some of that over into the real world, and that helped me out a lot with a lot of like social interactions and stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, because especially in retail or, those positions in the real world that you have to be, face to face and be personable with people, you're always on. And
Yeah.
for someone who has depression or anxiety, or like myself, I'm an ambivert, like I enjoy being around people, but I need my alone time. And when you don't get that,
Same, yeah. My social
it's
anxiety battery's dead.
yes,
Yeah.
you're dead. And so it makes it a lot easier. I won't say easier, but I guess kind of easier to have
And more
that.
tolerable.
Yeah, more tolerable.
That's a good way to put it. Tolerable, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize the exhaustion of being on all the time. And I think a lot of people would kind of switch that around who don't understand being in that situation, and kind of switch that around and maybe think you're on when you're wrestling, which in a way you are, but it's a lot different, because I'm not saying that you didn't want to be at your Costco job, but it's a lot different. See, that's
I'm not there anymore.
There's a difference in doing what you need to do and then pursuing your passion.
Right. And that was one of the great things, though, is that Costco did allow me to pursue my passions. And honestly, it's not that I didn't like the job. It just wasn't really.
Yeah,
I finally got to a point where it wasn't really conducive to my mental health.
Yep.
To continue
I feel that.
to just do the same thing over and over again and be around certain people that just made my stress go through the roof.
I get it. I work in healthcare.
There you go.
Yeah, she gets that. Yeah.
But like, the being on part of it, the same can be said for wrestling. And you talked about me doing commentary.
Let's talk about that.
How long did you wrestle for?
Me, 2 years.
Okay. So the thing that's fun but also sucks about commentary is when I'm managing or when I'm wrestling or whatever, I only have to really be on for like 15, 20, 30 minutes at a time, right?
I see what you're doing. I see where you're going with.
I've been, if I do Overdrive, if I do commentary for our pre-tape show Overdrive, which we film right before we go live on Rise every Thursday, if Al tells me, hey, I need you on Overdrive, I'm going out before the first dark matches hit the ring. So at 10 after 6, I'm at the desk, and I'm not coming off that thing until at least 9 o'clock. If it's a pay-per-view night, it's even longer. And you've got
your
to
home.
be on, excited, and up.
Yep.
You have to ride that emotional roller coaster of every single match throughout the show.
Yeah.
And when I come off the stage from doing commentary, truthfully, sometimes I'm more mentally drained than doing anything else.
In the ring,
Yeah,
because
I gotta ask you. Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I gotta ask you, like, so how did you go from being or transitioning at OVW to being a wrestler there to commentary? What was that like?
So I started off selling T-shirts, doing all the merch. I moved into refereeing. From refereeing, I went to managing. From managing, I went to wrestling, back to managing, back to wrestling, back to managing, to commentary, back to managing. Bounced around. I did all the production side of it and all that shit. But like, it was always just situational for me. And when the LOB was nearing its end with our last run, Ash had broke off as a babyface. High broke off as a babyface. And I was left with Steven Zoe. Not left with Steven Zoe, but the remnants that I had left of my LOB at that time was Steven Zoe. And we weren't really doing a whole lot, and I could feel that the end was coming sooner rather than later. And I had been talking to Al about maybe switching back over to commentary just for a little bit to kind of reset and maybe start managing somebody else or doing something a little bit different. And he put me back at the desk for him, replacing Shannon. Because it's always weird. Every time Shannon manages, I'm at commentary. And
I've noticed that.
We switch it up, he goes back to the desk and I go back
noticed
to managing.
I would notice that. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm good with it.
It's so funny.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But he put me back at the desk, and like, I've been itching to get off the desk for like the last year.
Dude, we've been itching for you to get the fuck off of this for last year. Every time I get seriously, like, you gotta understand.
In a bad way.
No, that's not a bad thing. No, we're just tired of hearing your voice. Jesus. No, Emma can do. No, it's when I started coming to OVW, I saw you wrestle. And you were one of my favorite people to see. And then when they took you and I thought it was them doing it, but I figured it was you. You're on commentary. I'm like, God damn it, when is he gonna get his ass back in this ring? I want to see him tear shit up. Like, I miss you, dude. I miss you in the ring.
I appreciate that.
Whoever
No,
this. Get his ass back in the ring.
I've shot myself in the foot because any role that I've been put, because I love OVW. I love professional wrestling.
Hell yeah.
So any role they put me in, I don't half-ass. Like, I'm going to do the best possible job that I can until I get pissed off, start throwing some shit, and have somebody else take over because I need a cigarette.
By doing that, you've cemented your position.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. He's like, you do what I need. You tell the stories I need. This is the spot I've got for you right now. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, I get it. But hey, what do you think about me and this guy? Hey, what do you think about me and this guy? Hey, what do you think about me and this girl? Hey, what do you think about this team? I'm always pitching stuff to him just to get under his skin, at the hopes that at some point in time he's like, God damn it, fine, just go do it.
Once again, it's that Al Snow's that old man head coach of a team, and you're that 6-man. Put me in, coach. Put me in. Shut up. Shut the fuck back down. You sit down now. And then you're just like, please give me one time. This is put me out there. Like,
and the thing for me, honestly, now, really, it's not like, oh, I want to be in the spotlight. I want to be this. I want to be that. I want to be.
Of course not.
I mean, a little bit, because obviously, it's a selfish business. But the main part about it is, like, I was lucky with the LOB guys.
You really were. That was good shit.
Pretty much everybody I've managed, with the exception of a couple of people, have been willing to listen. And what I mean by that is, I'm never going to say, like, oh, well, I know more than somebody else. That's never going to be the case. Unless you're brand fucking new and you've never done anything, or you've been around for a short amount of time. I've just made more mistakes than you. So let me tell you how to not make that mistake. Let's do this instead. But I want to help. I want to help the younger people on the roster. And I feel like, I mean, because they come up and you're like, hey, did you like my match? What did you think of this? What did you think of that? And it's like, guys, I've watched every match on the show. I can tell you didn't do anything that sucked so bad that it stuck out in my mind, and I wanted to tell you that.
Which is great. That's great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. But like at ringside, it's the whole, you can't see the forest for your own tree.
Oh yeah.
I would see shit. I would see openings, and I would call stuff. Not only the stuff that we had already pre-planned. If I had to, hey, where are we at? Yo, we're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, like, if I would see an opening for my guy's opponent to do something,
right,
or stay in this hole, and I'd stick my head in the ring, and it looks like I'm talking shit, and I usually am, but that's why I talk so much shit at ringside, so that when I am actually speaking to somebody, no one's paying attention to it. But the guys would listen, and like Zoe was the best, because I would always tell Zoe, like, no wasted movement. I would get in his ass during matches to try to. It's hard to piss Zoe off, but I would try to annoy him to the point where he would get to where I needed him to, just to shut me up.
I can't see Zoe getting annoyed. He's such a calm guy.
He seems like such a, trust me, I've seen Zoe annoyed. I've had him look at me and be like, damn, all right, bro. That's what I needed from you. Thank you. But like that type of stuff, I can't really convey in the moment. But I can see it. And I'm like, no, don't do this. Don't do that. Don't. Oh, yeah. Well, you lost them. You had it, but you lost it. And I'd like to be able to do that more. And it's okay, because on house shows, even though I don't, like, for house shows, I'm pretty much the live event coordinator, if you want to call me that. I'm the dude that shows up and goes, okay, put this here, put this here, put this here, locker rooms there. We don't have that. Someone give me 50 feet of paracord and a bed sheet. I'll make us a curtain. Like, I don't care.
I got you.
I've done it before. Like, and I get to actually watch those matches. And then when my kids, or when anybody comes back through the curtain, like, I'm there. I watched it. If you give me the, hey, what'd you think? I'll be more than happy to give you whatever feedback of whatever I saw. And realize this doesn't mean that I'm better than you by any means. It just means, hey, I saw this and I've been taught by enough people. I'm regurgitating the information that I learned.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe it will help you.
For sure.
So, you know, being in ring is fun, and commentary is good too. Because I'm having a blast with Linda and AJ. Like I really am. We're finally.
I can tell. You
hitting
sound
our
like you're having
stride.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I am, and it's doing commentary is a lot more difficult than people think.
Mhm.
Because I've got one eye on the ring, I've got one eye on the monitor, so I can see what the camera's actually shooting. So I can talk about that, not just what I see.
Right.
Yeah.
I've
That's
got
important.
and I'm partially deaf in this ear.
Mm,
So
okay.
having those headphones on, I've got Al talking to me
Mhm.
incessantly. He's either telling jokes or trying like soliloquies and paragraphs. And I will text him during shows. Like I do not give a shit. I'll text him and be like, "Can you please shut up?" Or I'll just text him bullet points with like 9 exclamation points.
That's
And he'll
great.
come back. He's like, "Don't get hot, Josh. It's not just you I'm talking to." I'm like, dude, mute him in my ear then. Shit. But I've got Al, I've got AJ, and I've got Linda. So I've got to tune him out with the exception and I don't mean it like that, but it's the truth.
Get it.
Totally get it.
Yeah,
I
no,
let him go
absolutely.
to white noise unless I hear like something that'll trigger in my brain. I'm like, okay, what's he saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm playing off of AJ. I'm trying to actually call what's going on in the ring because even though AJ is technically our play-by-play and I'm our analyst, I grew up watching Joey Styles. I can't help it. I'm going to call the match. I'm going to call the holds. I'm going to call the moves. I'm going to explain what's happening.
Sure. Absolutely.
And then Linda is our broadcast person. She comes at it from a very like analytical reporter type of standpoint where she's trying to further the story and also give us as much information on the situation as she can.
Cool. That's cool.
And with all three of us working together, we're finally starting to mix it all in and work together. So I think it's really helping the shows.
Yeah, when I've done commentary a few times, and for me, I'm like the color commentator. I don't necessarily know all the moves. You know, I am not that guy. I'm just the guy.
Sure.
I'm more like the fan. Like I'm just reacting to what's going on to get whomever's watching excited about what's going on.
Right.
For me, it is I don't want to know the finish. I don't want to know a lot. That's just me, but I know like you probably do it differently, right? But for me, it is when it comes to commentary, and like you said, it's not easy, and it really isn't. Especially like for the shows I've done commentary on, I didn't have a monitor, so I'm just like, I'm trying to I'm trying to see what I can see from my vantage point. I'm not at ringside or don't have to watch what you would watch on. So it is a little difficult, and having that point of view is very important. I would assume you agree, so you can actually play off they're seeing on TV and live. But me, I was asked a couple times, like, "Hey, do you want to know what the results are?" I'm like, "Nope, no. I want it to be a genuine
surprise,
because what's our show called? A Bunch of Marks. So I gotta go out there and at least have. I want the fan, and I'm not saying every commentator's got booze, but I want the fan to say, "Hey, that guy, he's excited or he's upset or
Right. And that's kind of what I try to convey too from more of
try to do that too. Yeah, you do that too.
Like I do a very like just loose I don't want to say like a Corey Graves or a Pat McAfee or a Joey Styles. I'm the Easton villain, man. I'm just going to call it as I see it. I might
Josh
hate the guy you love. I might hate the guy you love, and I might love the guy that you hate. But in one way or the other, I'm giving you my opinion. You can take it or leave it.
Absolutely.
Now imagine trying to do that, but you're also in the commentary aspect, going from our tape broadcast to being live.
Yeah.
Good God, that's pressure.
Is it really?
Because there's no fixing it in post.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
You know?
Yeah.
So
does that give you since you said you have anxiety, does that actually trigger your anxiety sometimes when you're live? Like when like I can really fuck this up if I wanted to on accident. Do you
a little
does that
bit
worry you sometimes?
A little bit, and only because the world is a much different place than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So you've got to be very, and not in a bad way,
Right.
Sure.
but just in a way where you've got to be a little bit more gentle with critiques and criticisms.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Because the things that you say do carry weight.
Yeah.
Whether you say it in gimmick or not, all it takes is one person to take it out of context.
Yep.
And even though we're broadcast on YouTube and Fight and Triller and everything else, we are still broadcast locally here in OVW on what is technically a Christian station.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
That
I
makes
did
a
not
lot of
know.
sense
Technically,
now.
we are on a Christian network, and I don't mean air quotes like it's not, but that's what we're on here in Louisville. So I have to be extra careful at not saying or insinuating or whatever in certain situations, because if one person gets offended, I'm not going to be the reason that OVW gets canceled and taken off television. When I say canceled, I mean like removed from a broadcast schedule.
Remove. I get it.
Right.
Like I don't want, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
It's a bigger picture, and
For sure.
you know, being
The
part
stakes are
of
higher.
yeah, and it's really being part of a team.
Yeah.
We all have to go out there and do our best to put on the best show, the best performance that we possibly can.
Absolutely.
But we also have to remember that this isn't Monday Night Raw. We're not in the same type of you can't say or insinuate or, you know, use certain language. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And plus, we're a family show.
Right.
Of course.
At the end of the day, we are a family show. Now, yeah, you're going to get, you know, it's more of a TV 14, but that's still what it is. We want to encourage people to be able to bring their families and kids and not have to worry about, you know, catching a stray piece of, you know, glass or somebody getting blood on it. And I'm not shitting on that at all. I'm not taking anything away from
it's a time and place.
Wrestling.
It's a time and place. Time
Yeah,
and place. It's an environment.
It's totally cool. Blood and wrestling. I think blood and wrestling is a staple. It should be there.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Watch UFC. Watch a dude get punched in the face for 5 minutes. He's bleeding from somewhere.
Right.
Now we're going to go out here and have a 25-minute banger and we're just sweaty. I get it. It's a work. It's not needed in every single match.
No.
However, you get to a point where you're going into a cage or you're going into a blood feud with somebody where you've
the stakes
are
where we're getting color comes in. And I think that when I'm seeing when I'm watching TV, like I think like AEW does this way too much. I think they use color as a gimmick.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we understand, but like what Josh is saying, it's a time and a place.
Desensitized after so much too.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I will
loses
say this.
its luster.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it too.
Cool.
Yeah, like we're the ECW generation. We're used to the flaming tables and the barbed wire and all this shit, and we're attitude era kids. We're used to that stuff.
Yes.
However,
I'm still traumatized from the cheese grater. I get the willies from that to this day.
Oh yeah.
But like it's one of those things where
I don't know what that reference is, but I'm going to find out later.
You will find out one day.
Yeah, I'm sure
right.
Yes, you will find out. But we get to a point now where again society has changed, and what was completely acceptable in the world in 97, 98, 99,
even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's not the same. It's not
right.
You know, a lot of people aren't going to bring their kids back to a show where they have to worry about getting front row tickets and someone's whipping blood on them.
Yeah.
Now, if you're doing like an all like a 21 and over show or an 18 and over show or whatever, dude, I don't care what you do as long as it's consensual and no one gets hurt.
Yep. That's great way to put it.
That's a broad
pretty much how I live my life.
That is a very great way to put it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So like do whatever you want to do at your show.
Yeah.
But if I'm not comfortable with something, I will say it. I've been on shows where I was told by a promoter, hey, like it was part of a larger, like multi-company show.
Yeah. Oh,
and OVW got booked on it, and we were told, hey, you know, you guys are going on first match because we had 2 OVW matches. You're going to be first match, you're going to be fourth match. And we're
Okay.
like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And like I looked at the card, everything was okay.
Mhm.
No big deal, right?
Right.
Well, first match goes, fine, does what it needs to do. Second match goes, third match goes, we're getting ready. Hey, we're bumping you guys back. We had to switch some stuff. Okay. What's
Okay.
going on ahead of us? We're putting out a
All right.
6-man tag. All right, 6-man tag, whatever. I don't give a shit.
Sure.
Within the first 5 minutes, at least half the guys were already bleeding. Another few minutes in, the rest of the guys are bleeding.
Wait, in this 6-man tag?
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a little, that's
6-man
overkill.
tag, hardcore rules, whatever. And they start bleeding and brawling. And I remember specifically hearing the ring announcer say, if you see wrestlers coming your way, get your shit and move. I was like, we're done. Like, we're not going out there and work. Like, the canvas is covered in blood.
Yeah.
Like, one dude's bleeding like a stuck pig. And it wasn't anything against any of the boys. Like, it was nothing personal. And I wound up explaining that years later to a couple of the guys that were involved with it. And I was like, man, it was nothing personal, but we had certain things that Danny said we could and could not be a part of. And the fourth match was supposed to be an OVW heavyweight title match.
Oh.
And we're like, hey, we got to go. Like, we can't. There's blood everywhere. We were given explicit instructions that if any of that stuff happened, it would happen after us. And we were cool with it, but we're not going to go out there and work. And, there's busted fluorescent light tubes and there's blood everywhere. We're not doing it. A buddy of mine was a cameraman for the show and was like, I got blood on my camera and was freaked out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that wasn't there was a section of the crowd that was there specifically for that. But you also had people coming in to watch 2 other companies that don't do that.
Right.
So as much as we all tried to work together on it, it just didn't work out that night. And it turned into it became a whole big thing that was blown out of proportion later on.
Yeah.
But like it all got settled. And it was one of those things where it took a couple days for kind of tempers to die down a little bit.
Right.
Because those guys took it really personal, and I understand. Like, I'm not discounting how they felt at all.
Right.
But at the same time, like, from our perspective, like, this isn't what my guys signed up for.
Yeah.
And
of course,
one of them is really not comfortable with it.
Well, I mean, you gotta protect your guys. You gotta protect your brand.
Yeah.
You gotta, because I mean, I get where you're coming from. OVW is a family show, so people don't want to. Like say for instance, I have kids, and I don't want to watch the part you talked about, and so I'm turning on the TV, and I'm like, why are my OVW dudes in like a pool of blood? Like, what's that all about? Like, that's not that's not what I associate.
Okay.
So respectfully, I understand where you're coming from. Totally get that.
And there's, I've got some of my friends some of my, better friends in the business are all, they do a lot of deathmatch wrestling. And I'm like, go for it, man. Like,
good for you.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to shut down your art just because it's not the type of art that I make.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's what we talked about. We talked about that. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just say some people strip down naked and paint themselves with paint and running the canvases and call that art too. I support the shit out of that, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, I'm wrestling. I hate censorship. In every way, shape, and form. I do not like being told no. You can't do that or you can't have that because I don't think it's right for you. I don't give a shit what you think is right for me. If I don't like it, I'll turn the channel. Exactly. If I don't like the taste of it, I'll spit it out.
Exactly. For me, we were talking on our show at PopCon we did last weekend that, there's so many genres or subgenres of pro wrestling. You have deathmatch wrestling, you have catch wrestling, you have Japanese wrestling, there's a lucha libre, there's a flavor for everybody. And for me, I don't want to tell just because, look, I might not be a person that appreciates deathmatch wrestling. Maybe I just haven't watched a lot of it. But I'm not going to tell you you're an idiot for doing it. It's that whole, because you don't understand something, that means you want them to not do it no more. And fuck that. Like, I don't agree with that at all. So, well, we gotta wrap up the show. I know
I talk a lot, man. I go long.
Hey, that's cool. We could do this for like 3 hours straight. But But dude,
I'd be happy to come back for part 2, man.
That's right. We'll do a part 2.
I was just thinking we need to have you come back on because like this has been a whole vibe.
We should have Josh come on while you're reacting to an old match, and then we'll have him.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Oh, that would be great.
And then he could kind of give his thoughts on that. I know you've watched a ton of matches too, growing up with it. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm literally surrounded with VHS tapes. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Wonderful.
Oh yeah, I got some VHSs in my non.
I got a working VCR hooked up to a tube TV behind me, bro.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Like I have my kids over sometimes. I'm like, shut up and watch this.
Yes.
And I put in like Inoki versus Brody from '73 or some shit, you know?
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. Well, guys, thanks so much, Josh Ashcraft, for being on the show. And guys, go follow OVW Wrestling on all the socials, and you can go to ovwwrestling.com to get tickets to the next event, which they did. You got to get Independence Rage, I think, was tonight. That's going on right now.
Yes, Independence Rage was put up tonight. We will be. When will this air?
This will air next week. I think we're going to put this out probably next Tuesday. So yeah.
Okay, so then as of this airing, on July 12th, we will be in Lexington, Kentucky at Courtesy Acura. We've got a bunch of huge shows coming up. Our next OVW Saturday Night Special will be, I believe, August the 16th.
Okay.
I will double check that date. But if you want to get tickets, like he was saying, go to either ovwrestling.com or OVWTix. That's OVWTIX.com. You can find all the information for our house shows there. You can find me on all social media, either at Josh Ashcraft or Josh Ashcraft 86. Trust me, you'll know it's me when you see it. And I'm so happy to have been on, man. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Dude, you rock. Tell all the boys and girls at OVW they need to get their asses over here and come on here too, and we'll have a fun time. But
absolutely,
we haven't been to OVW in a while.
I know. I was just.
We got to get our ass back over to Davis Arena. It's been too
long.
you
do.
Take it back over there.
Live.
We got to see his pretty face for sure. Look at that smile, a killer smile. Damn. But thank you, Josh, for joining us, man. We appreciate you very much for taking the time to come on our show.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
We appreciate every one of you who take the time to listen to us, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or our very own YouTube channel. We do appreciate you watching and listening all the same. And also, once again, thanks to all of you that came out to PopCon.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Out with us. Thanks to Dalton Williams, a.k.a. Justin Myers, a wrestler himself, for joining us for that live audience.
What a guy.
Yep. And we'll see you guys on the next one. We got our next episode, which will be the end of this month. Well, Raven gets to react to another match. Looking forward to it. And we're definitely gonna have a part 2 with you. Maybe a part 5. I don't know. You're always welcome to come back on the show, Josh. We appreciate having you here, man.
I'm happy to talk about my favorite subject, me.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys on the next episode. Until then, we are out. See you guys.
Peace.